Hello, this is Anthony, and I wanted to show the relay board. So you can see I out and ground. So I out outputs the current. So this is like a 420 milliamp system, where 4 milliamp would be 0 pounds, 20 milliamps would be like, let's say max capacity 5,000 pounds, and let's say 12 would be in the middle, which is 2,500 pounds. So the current that I'll output it depends on how much weight's on scale. And it's going to show how to wire it up. So V out is just going to show the voltage, same output but in volts, on how much weight is on the scale. So if you want a relay output, and this is for analog output specifically, this is how to assemble it, how the system works. And there's 2 sets. So there's also the 4 set points. So you see there's 4 set point relay output. So that's another option. So I'll just show you first how to assemble just a regular AO, analog output. You see the option for the current or the output of voltage. So I'll show you how to assemble it now on this normal 900. We're going to deassemble it. So I'll show you now. So I already have this cable made. So what's important is the pins. You can see there's wires for 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, and then wires for 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's important because we're going to use pretty much all of these. So specifically the transmit and receive, pin 2 and pin 3, and then pin 5 is our ground for the normal RS32, and you can see what I mean here. Right, transmit, pin 2, pin 3 is the green one, and then ground. So we're going to have to add the ground here. And then specifically for the relay output, it's going to use the 1 and 6 to go into the I out and ground. So that will specifically output to that. And then we'll have a couple extras, but at least this cable's made, and I'll show you how to make the cable. So you can see my pin 2, which is my green cable here, is my transmit. My receive is pin 3, which is currently my white cable, and pin 5, which is ground, to black cable. So I'll put them in now. Okay, now it's time to wire up 1 and 6 for the 1 I out and ground. So it might seem confusing, but the pin 1 goes to I out, pin 2, or pardon, sorry, pin 6 to ground. So it might be hard to see on this one, but on this one you see it's pin 1 and that's pin 6. So if you're making your own cable, you're gonna have to make a wire from pin 1 to here, to I out, and then pin 6 to ground. And it seems like I'm going to need to cut it because it's actually too big for this connector. Maybe yours is a little bit larger and it could fit, but I might have to cut it, strip the wire, put some solder on the tip of it, and then connect it. So I finished setting it up and wiring, and you can see it's calibrated, and when I increase the weight, see the weight goes up. So I'll show you the millivolt outputs. So check. Put it across here. You can see the milliamp output. Increase the weight, keep increasing the weight, and if I lower the weight, you can see it goes down. So that's for the current output, for milliamp output. If this one particularly doesn't work, because this board doesn't have this feature, but these two pins on the right for voltage, so you put it to voltage, you'll be able to see the volts coming out of these two connections, the ones on the right that are not filled in. So if you do want to add a resistor to a circuit and then calculate the voltage from the current, that's also an option. But that's how you measure the milliamp output, and this from there you can connect to a PLC or something else where you want the analog output, and this analog output corresponds to the weight. Alright, so I'll show you next one. So I'll show you the 4 set point. So you can see it has 4 relays and a COM port. So the only tricky part with this one is the 9-pin connector. So you're gonna wire pin 1 to 1, pin 2 to 2, pin 3 to 3, pin 4 to pin 4, and then nothing at pin 5, but 6, 7, 8, and 9 all go into the COM port. So that's how you wire it up, so do that now. So I have the bottom 4. So remember, these go to the COM port. So these pins 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm actually gonna wire them together to one connector because they won't fit in a smaller connector here. So I gotta wire them all together and then connect to that. So. Six, 7, 8, 9 to 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and the last 4 at the bottom to 1 to COM. Okay, if you see it, pin 1, pin 2, pin 2, pin 3, pin 3, 4 to pin 4, and then 6, 7, 8, 9 to the COM port. So now it's just adding the load cell. And if you have a second RS-32, you could plug it in here for like a scoreboard or printer or computer. And then the red and black cables for DC. And that's how you assemble the 4 set point OP900 relay option. Thank you. Bye.